Monday Night Raw rolled into the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee with a show focused on hyping Friday's joint AAA presentation, Worlds Collide, as well as the WrestlePalooza premium live event on ESPN 8 days later. What went down when CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch? What did the seemingly reunited Usos have to say to the WWE Universe? Find out the answers to those questions and more with this recap of Monday Night Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Hey there, welcome everybody to another edition of Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Thursday night for the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. Tonight here on Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw, we're also going to run down a newsworthy NXT. And then we will also preview Thursday, the season premiere of Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. And we got a good one here. The Washington Commanders squaring off against the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Last time I checked, that's eligible for cross-flex. Wink, wink. So, something to think about there. But first, let's get into Monday Night Raw, which was live, as I mentioned, from the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Or as MF and I always say, Milwaukee, Algonquin for the good land, as we all know. Shout out to Alice Cooper, Wayne's World reference. We all know it. We love it. So there isn't anything else left to say except let's dive right on in. On the heels of an apparent reunion, Jimmy and Jey Uso kicked off Monday Night Raw. Before the Usos could say much, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed interrupted. The heels attacked, leaving the twins like Roman Reigns, who was still sidelined after the Vision's assault at Clash in Paris. The Usos cut a united front, laying down a challenge for a match for tonight, which the heels declined, and instead for WrestlePalooza. LA Knight attacked Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Chaos ensued, and the faces stood tall to close the segment. There is an effortless chemistry Jimmy and Jey exude when working together that neither has when they are apart. That does not mean they should always be a team moving forward, especially considering the latter's success as a singles star. But it is obvious nonetheless. This was a fun, inoffensive start to the show that set up a PLE match, continued LA Knight's vendetta against the Vision, and further teased tension between the megastar and Jey, which is logical given the developments of recent weeks. So, not much more for me to add on to that. So, MF, come on in. Your thoughts on this opening segment, the Usos versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at WrestlePalooza, LA Knight getting involved. A lot to make of.
Yeah, a lot to make of it, but like you said, it was a solid and necessary thing to start the show. I think they did a really good job, and I really got nothing bad to say about it. I thought they did a fine job for what it was worth, and yeah, great way to start it. Nothing more to add, and Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF, you start off our first match of the night, which was the phenomenal AJ Styles squaring off against El Grande Americano. AJ Styles winning the match in roughly an even 9 minutes. We had a Dos Grande Americano, another El Grande Americano come out, but he got held at bay by Dragon Lee, and that opened the door for the phenomenal one to win the match. So MF, AJ Styles defeating El Grande Americano in roughly an even 9 minutes.
Yeah, no, this was a solid matchup to say the very least, and a big win for AJ Styles. And that's not really the big story of the whole thing. There was something else that happened prior to the match. During a commercial break, yes, AJ Styles cutted a promo that got the internet stirring. Unfortunately for us in the United States, we didn't get to see this. And maybe fortunately, we didn't get to see this, but the internationals did. And oh boy, were they talking. Um, Look, I don't know what the AJ Styles thing was about. I don't know if that was just him voicing frustration. I don't know if that was a work shoot, but something went down that got a lot of people talking. But as far as the match goes, AJ getting a big win, which is the right thing to do. He needed the win, so I'm happy about it. But it kind of makes me wonder what is going to be the ramifications now, especially after what he said last night. But, great win for AJ. I'm happy for it. This was about a 3-star bout, to say the very least, and it's yours, Floyo.
2.5 to 3 for me. AJ Styles and El Grande Americano have some strong chemistry, but it's hard not to notice that AJ is above this mid-card feud and should probably be utilized elsewhere on the show, such as in the main event, where he could be a great addition to the world title picture as another top-tier babyface targeting Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. The match was fine for what it was, and the multiple Americanos gimmick is fun enough, but this felt like more of the same rather than a segment that advanced anything in any meaningful way. So, about 3, right around that 2.5 to 3 threshold, to be honest. So, and then backstage, General Manager Adam Pearce revealed that Stephanie Vacour was unable to travel to Monday Night Raw, so her contract signing with Io Sky was canceled. And then a confrontation between Nikki Bella and Asuka led to a match between them later tonight, later in the show. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But first, we have another women's match to get into, as it was Lyra Valkyria squaring off against Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez in her corner. Raquel Rodriguez winning the match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Yeah. This was a strong match. Rodriguez improves every week, and Lyra Valkyria has been one of the best wrestlers on Raw, regardless of the division. They had great chemistry, and the result was a pleasant surprise. So, I don't know what else there is to say here. This was easily 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. Very good match between these two. So not much more to say. MF, Lyra Valkyria comes up short against Raquel, but next week, when Monday Night Raw moves to 1 hour earlier at 7 p.m. next week, where I don't remember where. Oh yeah, in Springfield, by the way, Springfield, Mass. That's where it's gonna be next week. Lyra Valkyria will get another shot at the Judgment Day as she'll go 1-on-1 with Roxanne Perez. We know the history with these two going back to NXT.
All the way back to NXT, no doubt about it. This is going to be a solid one, to say the very least. Yeah, I'm with you on this one too, Florio. I can only give this about maybe about 3.25. It was solid for what it was worth. Really nothing more to add. So, Florio, it's yours.
All righty, and we move on now. All right. The last time that, and we move on to, well actually, there was another backstage moment. Rusev interrupted a conversation between Adam Pearce and Penta, demanding a championship opportunity at the same time Penta was. And the confrontation ended with a match for later in the show being made. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But we move on to the toast of the wrestling world. Millions upon millions of views since her epic return this past Friday night on SmackDown. I mean, if we're going by strictly the WWE YouTube channel, at last check, over 5.2 million views. 5 million. And who knows how many more all around social media. This was AJ's first appearance on a Monday Night Raw since the night after WrestleMania 31. We're talking March 30th of 2015. That was the last time AJ Lee made any form of an appearance on Monday Night Raw, whether it be in a match, a promo, what have you. March 30th of 15, the last time before last night, we saw the crazy chick on Raw. AJ Lee made her first Raw appearance in a decade, drawing a huge reaction from the fans in Milwaukee as she skipped to the ring wearing Becky Lynch's Women's Intercontinental Championship. She said, "Kept you waiting, huh?" And drawing chants of welcome back. She said, "For those of you who were not here 10 years ago and aren't sure why your millennial parents were very excited last Friday." That's what she said to start her promo, injecting her personality immediately. Lee recapped the last decade of her life, including going to therapy, to which the fans actually chanted, "Therapy, therapy, therapy." Are you sure we were in Milwaukee? Because it kind of sounded like we were in France again.
Yeah. Or Toronto, or Montreal, or Chicago, or like an IWC capital of the world type thing, because those fans would have pulled some kind of stunt like that. Yes.
Ugh. AJ talked about watching Raw for the first time in a long time and seeing her husband, CM Punk, in the same ring as Becky Lynch, who belittled him. This brought out the man who trash-talked the fans, cut down Punk, and took exception to AJ wearing her title. AJ challenged Becky to go get her championship, to which Becky responded by referring to her as a Jersey trash bag weirdo. She questioned where Punk was, claiming he was hiding behind his wife, and called for her hot husband. Enter the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. He joined his wife in the aisle to "You both suck" chants. He suggested AJ give the title back, to which AJ said she can give Becky another black eye, or the heel champions could meet her and CM Punk in a tag team match, a mixed tag team match. Rollins attempted to take the title back, but found himself cut off by Lee. Punk joined the fray and set the Visionary up for the GTS, only for Seth to narrowly escape and join Becky at ringside. Frustrated, he accepted the challenge. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves easily the most anticipated mixed tag team match in WWE history. Bigger than Randy Macho King Savage and Sensational Queen Sherry against Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire at WrestleMania 6. A hell of a lot bigger than Sable and Mark Mero against Luna and Goldust. Hell, even bigger than Triple H and Stephanie McMahon against Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. That's how big this thing is. And MF, there's nothing left for me to say except segment of the night. And now we are on the precipice of easily the most anticipated and with potential the greatest mixed tag team match in wrestling history.
Oh, no doubt about it. This is the one that the whole world's been waiting for, and now we get it. The ultimate payoff has happened, and yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be an exciting moment, and what a matchup it's going to be, man. So yeah, this is going to be wild. AJ Lee, look, you can say whatever you want to say about her, but it was so good to hear her on mic, and just for her just to say what she said was absolutely amazing. It was real. It was authentic. It was everything that it needed it to be, and it was a tremendous story that she talked about. A lot of it nobody really knew about unless you read her book. And yes, it is a New York Times bestseller. But she talked about everything. She talked about the gambit, as I would like to say. and she didn't pull anything back. She pulled no punches on anything. She spoke her truth, and I thought she did an incredible job handling that situation. So I enjoyed it. I loved it. And then the next thing we know was, Becky coming out, cutting a devastating promo. I thought she did a great job with that. Only to be, for her to say what she had, for her to try to manipulate the situation to get her belt back. And yeah, I thought they did a really good job with everything there. So no, I thought it was a solid. It was really good, solid for what it was worth. I was very happy with it, and yeah, nothing more to say. Now we finally get the match we've been waiting for. The whole world's been waiting for the mixed tag at WrestlePalooza. So, floor is yours.
While a little on the longer side, this was the big selling point of last night's show, and AJ Lee shined. Her personality was up front. She held her own against the typically that the segment ended with another huge match for WrestlePalooza, and an advertisement for therapy only enhanced its quality. And then another notable backstage moment, Jey Uso told Jimmy that he is not worried about LA Knight or fending off the Vision, to which Jimmy said, "You're sounding like Roman." And Jey said, "Maybe sounding like myself ain't working anymore." Great bit of seed planting there. That translated into the main event. But first, we had Penta squaring off against Rusev, and Rusev wins the match 8.5 minutes because of a distraction by Xavier Woods. This should have been a better match, but for the third time in 3 matches, a distraction of some sort led to the finish. It is an uncreative booking trope that has plagued WWE TV of late and has increasingly been met with criticism. Sure, Rusev won, the guys cost Penta. It is a question Triple H and the creative team are not asking themselves enough, and it's leading to a predictable and repetitive product. Where we heard or seen that before, I wonder. Which is why I can only give this match 2.5 stars. I mean, when you think of the body of work of both of these guys, this should have been at least, at minimum, a 3.5 to 3.75 star bout. But a little short for my liking, one. Too much interference. So, I mean, did they get the outcome right? Sure. Rusev needs it because, if they want us to take Rusev seriously, he's got to start getting some big wins, and he got a big one here by hook or by crook. So, but anyways, 2.5 stars. That's the best I can go. So MF Rusev wins 8.5 minutes. New Day, Grayson Waller, all getting involved. And when you think of the body of work of both of these guys, this should have been way better than what we got.
Should have been way better than what we got, but it's logical. That's why I'm not mad. I think it was a logical outcome. It was a logical ending. It had to be, sometimes it can't be perfect. And that's exactly what it was. It was not a perfect ending, but I didn't want it to be a perfect ending. Sometimes I don't mind a dust up. And this is what it was. It was a dusty finish, but it basically served its purpose. So I don't think I would be as mad as some of the others are about it. But I think they did a fine job. That's exactly what you needed it to be. So yeah, I'm cool with the ending. I'm cool with the outcome. I'm cool with Rusev getting the win here. And yeah, nothing more to add. So Anthony, back to you.
Okay. Let me just see if there's anything else that needs to be addressed before we move on. Okay. The latest Bayley video aired. In it, she sported black, flashed hints of a dark side, and asked for forgiveness from Lyra Valkyria, but admitted she can't forgive herself. We heard the voices of her heel alter ego mocking her, telling her to do what is right. And she said, and quote, "I'll make it right." That's what she said to close the latest vignette. What is it going to be like when her character finally does show up for real?
Mm.
We'll have to wait and find out.
I mean, something tells me she might get like this 3 phases of Foley type thing going, Florio. Honestly, I think it's very possible we might get a 3 phases of Foley. Yeah.
Now that would be something. Hugger Bailey, role model Bailey, and
whatever this third one's gonna be. Let's take a mix of both. Who knows?
We'll see. Asuka with Kairi Sane in her corner, squaring off against WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. And it was Asuka winning the match in roughly 12 and a half minutes. So, MF, I believe we start this one off with you here. Asuka defeating Nikki Bella in roughly 12 and a half.
Solid matchup. Could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not mad about the outcome. Asuka definitely deserves the victory here. Look, I mean, Nikki put a lot of a better effort than she did at Clash at Paris, because we all can agree that match was a complete and utter mess. But this one was a lot more solid, a lot more better. And, I think I'm not mad with the outcome. I know some people are like, are you kidding me? Why would you let that, why would you let Nikki get all these losses? You're kind of burying her. And I'm like, in a way, okay. But the thing is that Nikki is, I don't know how long she's going to be there for. But the thing is, this, like I said, this performance was a lot more better than it was the first time around. So nothing more to say, Florio, it's yours. This was about a 2.5 to 2 3/4.
This was about maybe 3 3.25, somewhere in that area. This was an interesting match in that Asuka dominated almost from start to finish. Nikki Bella was presented as someone looking to make up for her lackluster performance against Becky Lynch at Clash in Paris, but she struggled against a superior wrestler. Where the story is going remains to be seen, but nothing about this presentation, outside of Corey Graves referring to her as one on commentary, did anything to suggest the babyface is a Hall of Famer. 3 3.25. Backstage, the Judgment Day took exception to Dominic Mysterio's absence, leading to the Intercontinental Champion storming off. Roxanne Perez went after him and offered her help. Perhaps we start the planting of the seeds of that story. And then from there, well, before we get to our main event, let's, couple things. First things first, let's set the table for next Monday's show. Once again, a reminder, next Monday's Raw will be starting 1 hour earlier, not at 8 p.m., but 7 p.m. here on the East Coast. From Springfield, Massachusetts, we are going to have CM Punk and AJ Lee, along with the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins and the Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. And the four of them are going to meet face to face. And then from there, Lyra Valkyria goes one-on-one with Roxanne Perez, renewing their rivalry from NXT. And last but certainly not least, the one, the only, John Cena. We're going to hear from the Never Seen 17. He will be in Springfield, right in his backyard. That's where he went to college, folks. He went to college in Springfield, Mass. So this will be most certainly a happy homecoming for the GOAT, for the champ. So that crowd, oh my goodness, that crowd is going to be otherworldly. That pop's going to be otherworldly when he comes out. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Going down on some other things here. Nikki Bella was shown walking backstage. Asuka approached her and was held back by Kairi Sane. Asuka asked what happened to Nikki and then said something about Io Sky. Nikki shoved Asuka, who was held back. Rhea Ripley appeared and asked Asuka if they had a problem. You and you, Asuka said. Asuka claims she is the top woman in WWE. Ripley asked if Asuka forgot that her friend, Io Sky, was going for the Women's World Championship. Asuka said something that was hard to make out and then walked away. Kairi stayed. Asuka made some noise and Kairi ran to her. So, wow. Explosive stuff there. And we move on to the main event. LA Knight squaring off against Big Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker in Bronson's corner. Bronson Reed wins the match in roughly an even 13 minutes. The match itself was overshadowed by post-match events. Jimmy Uso supported LA Knight, but Jay, fueled by mounting frustration and Roman Reigns' return, seized his own moment of revenge. Jay's actions have suddenly made him one of WWE's most compelling figures, perfectly setting up the next chapter in the Bloodline saga. Corey Graves compared Bronson Reed to the late great Bam Bam Bigelow on commentary, and it might be one of the best comparisons in a long time. A big, athletic heavyweight, Bronson Reed does a lot of what Bam Bam did so well. And the story of LA Knight needing someone to watch his back may have hit a little harder had we not seen the same story development with AJ Styles earlier in the show. This being a higher profile program means it hits harder, but the creative team must be more careful not to repeat the same tropes in a single broadcast. Of course, the big talking point out of this 3 to 3.25 star match was the fact that Jey Uso spearing LA Knight, so many people on social media freaking out, saying, "Oh no, he's turned heel," and a funny commentary moment here where when Jey Uso speared LA Knight, MF just loses it. MF just goes crazy in laughter, and he's like, look at you and Bullock, Florio, look at the looks on your faces. And like, there's no, and then MF says, yeah, there's no joy in Yeetville tonight. And then you let out a mockery yeet, and then a no yeet. And he's like, I love it. Good for you, Jay. I love it. And then I pulled out the Vince McMahon card from the Survivor Series 94 saying, I feel betrayed. And then Bullock would be like, I'm right there with you, Florio. That's what he would say. All while MF was doing a mocking yeet of his own, saying, good for you, Jay. And then a round of applause for him too. So that's the funny commentary moment I had in mind at that moment. But conflicting feelings. I mean, the thing is he or is he not a heel? Or is he just a babyface with an edge? I mean, I don't know. But a certain content creator here said that he's not a heel, and I believe him. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's a heel. He just wanted to get his payback on LA Knight for what happened earlier in the show when LA Knight caused Jey Uso to get squashed like a grape by Big Bronson Reed. So, and to turn him heel would be a bad business move. Because as we all know, Jey Uso is one of the top merchandise sellers for WWE. The whole yeet thing, the kids love him, the fans love him. He's so well loved.
Yeah.
Turning him heel would be
it'd be the shocker of the year. Yeah, I think it'd be even bigger than when they turned John Cena. But the thing was, I feel like if they wanted to turn him, there is a chance that it would work. But like you said, I kind of feel like right now it kind of is more of maybe a babyface with an edge because of the fact that they were really mad about the whole situation. Because it looks like, LA Knight's getting frustrated with Jey Uso. It looks like Jey Uso is just basically getting frustrated with LA Knight. But if you also notice, Anthony, even Jimmy Uso looked at Jay like, what are you doing, kid? Have you lost your mind? Like, what? Like, are we good? Like, what's up with that? And he told him, he's like, nah, I'm good now. So I kind of feel like he just got sick and tired of LA Knight's whatever. And remember, Jimmy tried to be peacemaker, and LA Knight, in a sense, practically told him to buzz off. So maybe that was just saying, hey, don't mess with my family,
Very true.
So I don't know. We'll see. But Absolutely. Last night when I saw that moment happen, yeah, I was definitely playing that card. You
He
you
speared
know,
him. He speared him. You yell out, "Yes, yes, yeah!" And then Bullock and I do the,
I mean, I
and
mean, I'd be like, oh my freaking god! Oh, this, yes, yes, 1,000 times,
let's go,
yeah!
Jay. What are you doing?
He realized! He saw the light! Jay, you beautiful!
No yeet,
Yeet!
or in your case, no yeet, no joy in Yeetville tonight. Ugh.
Yep.
And and then you clapping and saying, "I love it, I love it," and but nonetheless, this is about another 3 to 3.25 star match. I mean, another bit of constructive criticism. It seems like it's the same when it comes to the main event of Raw. Every week for the last several weeks, it's been same old story, same old song and dance. A member of the Vision going up against insert LA Knight, insert Jey Uso, insert somebody. I mean, we need something different in the main event scene. We need something that's not repetitive, you know? That's it. So 3 to 3.25 stars, but MF, of course, obviously the talking point. Jey Uso. I know everybody's in an uproar saying, "Oh, he's turned heel, he's turned heel." Relax. Not just yet.
Well, like we said, did he just plant the seeds for a future heel turn?
Definitely.
Or was this just a one-off that, maybe he was just frustrated with LA Knight, and LA Knight kind of disrespected him, so he hit him back in kind. I don't know. But I do say this, that it definitely perked my interest, and it definitely got my attention into the storyline. And of course, me being the heel commentator on Monday Night Raw, I was eating that up like a million times over. So, I mean, yeah, this was, like you said, this was a perfect commentary moment that happened last night, and we played it absolutely perfectly. And yeah, like you said, there was no joy in Yeetville last night. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, LA Knight is probably going to make Jay now pay for what he did. And I guess that's going to be a nice little side story leading into this upcoming match. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Overall thoughts, MF. Last night's Raw. What says you?
I think it was another solid show. I got to say this is at least a 7 out of 10, or 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Obviously, the action was good. Some of the promo stuff was also pretty good as well. So at the end of the day, yeah, it was solid for what it was worth. So nothing more to add. And Anthony, it's yours. 7.5 to 8 for me.
Yeah, that's about right. 7.5, teetering on 8. WrestlePalooza feels like a legitimately huge show, and last night's Raw did a strong job of hyping the event on September 20. We had the addition of 2 high-profile matches in the Usos versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, the latter of which was set up in the most significant segment of the night. The Bloodline saga appears to be reintroducing itself to the WWE Universe in the form of Jey Uso's descent into becoming exactly what he fought against when he broke free of Roman Reigns' control and set out on his own path. Add to that the impending match between Io Sky and Stephanie Vacour, and the mounting tensions between Io Sky and her damage control teammates Asuka and Kairi Sane, as well as the involvement of Rhea Ripley, and you have 2 threads to keep an eye on in the women's division. Solid in-ring action capped off the show and earned it an above-average rating. 7.5. I think 8 might be a little reaching, but it is what it is. So 7, a solid 7.5 though. I definitely can go with that for sure. So not much more to say on that, and we move on now to NXT. Once again, coming to us from the Capitol Wrestling Center aka the WWE Performance Center, 1 week before the big homecoming show next week when they go back to their roots of Full Sail University. Oh, I'm getting excited just thinking about that show, especially after what they announced tonight. Oh, as Trick Willie would say, let's talk about it. So, don't really have a big intro here, so we're just going to get right into it. First match of the night, Javon Evans squaring off against Josh Briggs, and Josh Briggs wins the match, 12 minutes and 45 seconds, due to nefarious means, as we say. So this match started out hot and never lost momentum. Javon Evans is one of the most exciting young talents in NXT, and Josh Briggs has grown into a versatile and reliable worker who can play a bass for a high flyer like the young OG. This was a great match that helped get the crowd into the right mindset. Solid 3.5 stars. And the dive Evans hit right out of the gate looked awesome. The crowd would not stop taunting Briggs. The chants went on for so long. And the tope suicida that Evans hit looked incredible. And Briggs did a tremendous job catching him and selling it. Excellent jump off here. Solid 3.5 stars. You can make an argument for Fight of the Night if you wanted to. But nonetheless, Josh Briggs defeating Javon Evans, 12:45. Huge win for Josh Briggs, like him or not.
Yeah, huge win for Josh Briggs. Obviously, he did backdoor his way to the victory, which, as a heel, that actually makes logical sense. So, yeah, I really don't think there's anything bad to say about it. I thought they did a really good job. And, so Anthony, 3.5, and it's yours.
Okay. Before that, and then after that, we had we were in General Manager Ava's office. Ava was standing between Ricky Saints and the NXT champion Obafemi, who were bickering. Ava said they have a lot to get off their chest, and they can do so next week at Homecoming, where Ava booked Ricky Saints and Obafemi to appear on the returning Grayson Waller effect. So Grayson Waller effect, his guests, NXT champion Obafemi, and his No Mercy challenger, Ricky Saints. And then we move on. DIY in the ring. Tommaso Ciampa said returning to NXT always feels special, especially since the 10-year anniversary of DIY is close. And it did not take long for the TNA heavyweight champion Trick Williams to interrupt. And then he said, I'm not here alone. And who comes out? His one-time former tag team partner, Carmelo Hayes, joined the party and immediately felt like a bigger deal here than he ever does on SmackDown. Melo and Trick have not interacted since Carmelo Hayes left NXT, and Melo said Trick has been squatting in the house he and DIY built. Williams said it wasn't right that he talked trash about Melo, but also said this was still his house. Ciampa made a joke and Melo took offense. DIY then challenged Trick and Melo to a tag match at Homecoming, but the segment ended before an answer could be given. The segment started fine, but ended up falling apart a bit at the end, especially with the abrupt ending. There was no reason why Melo and Trick couldn't respond to the challenge that was issued. It felt rushed, even though it had plenty of time. But nonetheless, MF, how about this? Next week at Homecoming at Full Sail, DIY versus for one night only, the reunited Trick Melo gang. Whoa.
Yeah, no, this is exciting too, man. And a lot of people were criticizing a lot of people are criticizing WWE because they feel like that they haven't really let Trick or I should say Carmelo Hayes have a moment yet on the main roster, but here he is now back on NXT and he looks like he's better than ever. So yeah, big deal, big excitement, and we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm all for this. I think this is going to be a great way to jump it off. So yeah, so nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
All right. This was the other semifinal match in that women's number one contenders tournament to determine who will challenge Sol Ruca for that women's speed championship at NXT No Mercy. It was NXT/Evolve's Laney Reed squaring off against AAA legend Fabi Apache. Laney Reed wins the match in 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Well, okay. It's hard to do anything substantial with only 3 minutes, but these women did a good job making every second count. They left room to improve, but it was a decent bout. I mean, yeah, it's only a 1.5 to 2 star match for the effort. But the only thing I will say about this, and MF, I don't know if you want to throw any 2 cents in on this, but I got to pull the Jesse Ventura card out when I say you got to consider this an upset, considering the body of work of Fabi Apache. I mean, I don't know as much about her as you do. I mean, I know you know everything about Fabi Apache because of your following of AAA all these years, and I know she's one of the greatest to ever do it down there. But
absolutely,
Laney Reed beats her. Wow.
Yeah, this is definitely the classification of an upset. There's no argument here. This was a major shocker. I think a lot of us did not think this was going to happen. I think a lot of people thought maybe Fabi was going to win it. But the one criticism I do have is, even though we know this is speed, but I know this is like a speed tournament match and the speed, title, but can we finally get away from the 3-minute time limit? Yes. Can we at least alter it to maybe 5 minutes or something like that? Because
that's more reasonable.
Three does not seem enough for us. Or fair. I think this match deserves to be a little more higher, a little more. I think this deserves more time than just 3 minutes. I get it. I get it. That's how the rules are indicated and manipulated for it, but I just feel like 3 minutes is not enough for a match like this. I think they should have gone. It deserves to go higher. Just me personally. So, Anthony, it's yours.
So with that being said, in 2 weeks, on September 23rd, it will be Laney Reed squaring off against SmackDown's Candice LeRae, and the winner of that match will challenge Sol Ruca for that Speed Women's Championship at No Mercy, NXT No Mercy on the 27th. So, but nonetheless, big win for Laney Reed. For right now, you got to consider this the biggest win of Laney Reed's career. She beat Fabi freaking Apache, for goodness sakes.
I mean, you're talking about a 3-time Reina de Reinas champion. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest women's wrestlers in Mexico. And this is a big deal. There's no doubt about it. This was a humongous win. So, nothing more to say.
Well, there is actually one more thing to say, and that is, let's not forget, this Friday night, as part of Worlds Collide, Fabi Apache's got another big match when she squares off against Natalya in the number one contenders match for that very Reina de Reinas championship.
Yes, indeed.
So,
current women's champion Famar, also going to be at Worlds Collide defending the Reina de Reinas title against Roxanne Perez.
Oh, wow. Oof. As if that show couldn't get any bigger.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll definitely be tuning in right here on YouTube, WWE's YouTube channel, this Friday night, immediately following SmackDown, even though we do have a show on Friday night, our NFL show, but we'll address the future content in just a little bit. Okay. And with the loss, Fabi Apache, that definitely will affect her momentum going into that match with Natalya. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay. Return match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. This is a return match from, I believe it was the Heat Wave event. The champions, Dark State. It was Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin representing Dark State, defending against the challengers and former champions, Hank and Tank, And the winners of the match in 10 minutes and 58 seconds. And still, the NXT Tag Team Champions, it is Dark State. All right. The energy in this match was great, but everything they did between the ropes was relatively basic. They relied more on fundamentals and taunting than anything else. Dion Lennox made the mistake of saying Joe Henry's name, causing Joe Henry to bust through a wall and chase him. During the distraction, Hank and Tank ended up losing to a roll-up. The ending was a bit weird, but most of what we got here was decent. I'll give this about 3 to 3.25 stars. So there isn't much more to say. MF, no surprise here. Dark State, still the champions. They win the match in 10:58, despite the surprise appearance of one Joe Henry.
Say his name, he will appear. You know that, Florio, and yeah, he came up at a not a moment too soon, as they would normally say, and much to the delight of you. And I pretty much know if Michael Bullock was here, he would have been very delighted as well. For me, all right, fine, whatever. But it was fine for what it was worth. It was still a good match. 3.25, nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Okay, this next match, this is one of my specialties. This is a match we haven't seen in a very, very long time. I honestly cannot remember the last time we had one of these in any form of professional wrestling, but a non-title match, NXT North American Champion, All Ego Ethan Page, squaring off against Tavion Heights in a flag match, which means on one side we had the Stars and Stripes, Old Glory, the U.S. flag, the United States flag, and on the other side, of course, we had the Maple Leaf, we had the Canadian flag. The first man to grab his own country's flag would win the match. And the winner of the match in 6 minutes and 49 seconds, it was Tavion Heights. Tavion Heights wins the match. But then, after the match was over, we had another bomb, another surprise. Tyler Breeze. Yes, Prince Pretty himself, Tyler Breeze. He came out and Tyler Breeze showed up and posed next to Ethan Page's unconscious body to end the segment. And next Tuesday night, as part of Homecoming at Full Sail, Tyler Breeze will be challenging All Ego Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. Whoa. Oh, okay. MF, Tavion Heights winning the flag match in 6:49. And Tyler Breeze shows up? Whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, no, this was a shocker. Prince Pretty returns, and I guess we'll wait and see. I'm excited like you guys are. So yeah, nothing more to say. This was about a 3-star bout. Florio, it's yours.
Give it more 2.5. Any kind of match where you have to retrieve an item from a pole is going to feel significantly different from a normal bout. So it's always a little hard to judge these matches. They worked hard and did a good job, but it's always hard to get invested in this kind of bout because it's not about being the better wrestler. Tavion Heights was able to claim the U.S. flag and win the match, but sadly for him, the North American Championship was not on the line. Tyler Breeze showed up, posed next to Ethan's unconscious body to end the segment. So Tyler Breeze will be challenging Ethan Page for that North American Championship at Homecoming next week. All right. And then we move on. And then we had part 2 of the Lola Vice video. Another well done video. Simple and effective way to prop up Lola for her title match. Bit late, but better late than never. She's been fledging as a babyface since they abruptly turned her to become Roxanne Perez's Challenger of the Week many months ago. The video was a good way to connect her with the audience and was something we used to see a lot more of back in the Black and Gold days. And as long as the background is different, there isn't diminishing returns. And I hope WWE brings back doing more documentary pieces to introduce wrestlers and even retrofit it to any over-the-top characters. So
And Lola is going to be a very busy girl also because of the fact that on Friday night, she also will be at Worlds Collide as she will be teaming up with Mr. Iguana as they take on members of the Judgment Day, as they are going to be taking on Raquel Rodriguez and, of course, Finn Balor. And there's even some anticipation that we may get Di Melito versus Laesca, a part two to that match because of what happened, Anthony, and you noticed what happened at Triple Mania when Di Melito made his debut in that fight, and there's talk of possibly them running that back. So we'll see. But obviously, with Raquel, it's a big moment for her because because for Lola, she's been wanting the team with Mr. Iguana. Mr. Iguana's got himself caught in a nasty love triangle right now because he's got Lariera, not only one half of the mixed tag team champions in AAA, but Layera is actually Mr. Iguana's girl. That's his girl. And Lola's been slowly trying to drive a wedge in there and trying to cause a little trouble. She likes him. And, and now there was a match during the week. It was in Mexico. And La Guerra, after the match, after they successfully won the title and everything else, La Guerra basically stormed off and left Mr. Iguana all by himself. And Lola's like, I would never do that to you. I would never betray you like that. And, I need a partner for Worlds Collide. Would you be my partner? And Iguana said yes. Iguana accepted. So now, because of the Judgment Day, and she talked about why don't we try to get some revenge off of what happened at Triple Mania? So now we're getting it at Worlds Collide. We're getting this mixed tag fight. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Anthony, it's yours.
Without question. And easily the biggest match of Lola Vice's career, Come No Mercy. She's going to be practically in her own backyard of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at that War Memorial Auditorium when she challenges Jacy Jayne for the NXT Women's Championship. And speaking of Jacy Jayne, she was in the corner of her Fatal Influence teammates, Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley, as we get into the main event. When it comes to the matches, that was triple threat women's tag team elimination match. Fatal Influence, Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley, with the NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne in their corner, squaring off against the Culling, Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame, Shawn Spears and Nico Vance in their corner, and squaring off against the NXT Women's North American and Speed Champion Sol Ruca and Zarya. First elimination occurs at 12 minutes and 39 seconds. Fatal Influence eliminating Zarya and Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca accidentally nailing Zarya with a soul snatcher. Ruh-roh. Got to keep an eye on that in the future. And then 2 minutes and 23 seconds later, in a total time of 15 minutes and 2 seconds, and the number one contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss at sometime down the line, the Culling, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley in a total time of 15:02. This was easily 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Easily the fight of the night. Well, not easily the fight of the night because the Evans and Briggs match was just as good. But this one I thought was just a smidgen better. A hard-fought match with a lot going on, but it was never hard to follow the action. After a few close calls, Izzy Dame got the win for her team by pinning Fallon Henley. JC Jane got on the mic and ran down and belittled Jasmine and Fallon for losing, but she was interrupted by shots of multiple cars arriving in the parking lot as the show went to its final break. So, and the way they set up Zarya to take the Soul Snatcher was great. The fact that Soul can hit that move accurately as often as she does is a miracle. And Jasmine, I thought, also hit a nice little perfect plex in there, too. Fight of the night for me, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. MF, surprising outcome. Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley get the golden goose. They get the golden ticket. They've got a date with Charlotte and Alexa sometime down the road for those women's tag titles.
Yeah, I gotta say, yeah, this was a little bit of a shocker. 3.5 stars is my rating for the match, and yeah, there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, let's go to that main event segment, and let's just say the bombs were going off at the CWC,
and they went off in threes. The show returned from the final break with JC Jane still ranting on the mic about how she is the greatest NXT women's champion of all time. And here come the bombs and the interruptions. Normally, I frown upon revolving door segments, but this is one of the rare times I'm actually going to let it slide because of what happened here. This was a revolving door segment, yes, but a good one. First interruption. Former NXT Women's Champion and the woman that JC Jane literally stole the title from just after Memorial Day, back on the May 27th edition of NXT. Stephanie Vacour, La Primera, making a surprise appearance to the delight of MF and Booker T. And then another bomb goes off. Tiffany Stratton, WWE Women's Champion from SmackDown. She shows up. And then, could it get any bigger than Stephanie and Tiffany?
Oh, it got bigger.
Rhea Bloody Ripley. What? Are you kidding me? And it sets up next week at Homecoming a huge 6-woman tag team matchup. All 3 members of Fatal Influence squaring off against Stephanie Vacour, WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton, and Rhea Bloody Ripley. MF, all I can ask is, what?
Yeah, I know. That's all you can say is what. That it was a stunner. Nobody saw that coming. We saw Stephanie, and I know a lot of people was like, wait a minute. Stephanie couldn't make it to Raw, yet made it to NXT? Huh. Okay. Then you see Tiffany Stratton, and it's like, okay, Tiffany's great. Tiffany's great, but who would be the third? Then you bring Rhea Ripley out. Okay, that's it. Yeah, this is where Michael Bullock basically yelled, I'm done. I'm not believing this. I think we all would have been yelling, we're done after Rhea Ripley showed up. I mean, dear Lord. So, yeah, great way to close the show. Holy freaking crap, what a moment. This is the NXT moment of the year. It is, no doubt. How can you top that? There's no way. So, yeah, Homecoming is going to be insane next week. That's all I can say. And Anthony Floyd, buckle up. This is going to get nuts.
Brace yourself, Full Sail. Brace yourself. All right, MF, overall thoughts on this NXT newsworthy show tonight?
Newsworthy show, but it's still the same old NXT. I mean,
business as usual.
6.5 for me. I mean, yes, very newsworthy, but there wasn't really anything that really stood out. There wasn't really any. I mean, the action was good, solid, but nothing great, Nothing overly spectacular. Nothing that's going to make us blow our minds. Even though we had a lot of bombs. We had Tyler Breeze. We had Carmelo Hayes. We had DIY. We had Tiffany Stratton, Stephanie Volker. We had Rhea Ripley. So obviously they're setting us up for next week. That could be one of the best ever. But right now, 6.5. Florio, go.
Tonight's NXT felt like a very business as usual episode. It had a handful of matches, helped hype the next big event, and had a few storyline developments. We had two very good matches. Javon Evans and Josh Briggs had a damn near show stealer with their bout. They both worked hard to make sure it was entertaining, but Javon Evans definitely stood out a bit more for his high-flying antics. That women's match was great with a surprise outcome. I mean, honestly, I thought Fatal Influence was going to win that match, but a little surprising to have Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley of the Culling get the shot at Charlotte and Alexa for those women's tag team championships down the line. And of course, everything that's been set up for next week as part of Homecoming. I mean, holy hell, where do we start here? When you look at this card here, I mean, everything that has been announced for this show, I mean, look at this. We got Ethan Page and Tyler Breeze for the North American Championship. DIY versus Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. The Grayson Waller effect with Oba Femi and Ricky Saints. That 6-woman tag match. And they also teased some surprises along the way. I got a feeling we might be seeing some familiar faces next week in Full Sail. So I do agree it is a 6 to 6.5 out of 10. And we have one last piece of business to get into, and that is the season premiere of Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime Video. And we got ourselves a good one here, folks. We really do. Out of the NFC side, and this is eligible for Crossflex MF if you want it. Just saying. We got the Washington Commanders squaring off against the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Of course, they're back. The same commentary crew, as always. They're back once again, as it will be Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung. They will be there at Lambeau on Thursday night. And the Green Bay Packers opening up as a 3.5-point favorite in this one. 3.5 the spread in favor of the Green Bay Packers. And not much more to say except just bear with me for a moment. This thing's being stubborn here. Just give me a second here. Two of the standout teams in the NFC, of course, going at it here. And with the Commanders and the Packers, I'm just trying to find their series history. My usual source is acting up right now, so I can't really get into it for a moment here. Let's see if I can find something else here. Okay, Green Bay. Green Bay leads the all-time series 22-17. Well, actually, that includes postseason games as well. All right. Now we got it here. Finally. Okay, I apologize for that little delay. All right, here we go. For Green Bay and Washington, regular season history favors the Green Bay Packers 20-16 with one tie. And their last meeting was in 2022 in Washington, and Washington won that game 23-21. Last meeting at Lambeau was in 2021, Green Bay winning it 24-10. And Washington has not won in Lambeau. Well, overall, it was 1988, but that was back when the Packers were playing at Milwaukee County Stadium. The last time that Washington won legitimately at Lambeau, you got to go back to 1986 in a 16-7 final. So with that being said, let's dive on in here. All right. A great matchup between NFC contenders that might evoke memories of a 48-47 shootout on Monday Night Football in 1983. Micah Parsons has 10.5 sacks in 8 career games against Washington. The Commanders are 4-4 straight up as a road underdog with Jayden Daniels. But Green Bay, I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to make it 2 in a row at Lambeau Field. The Packers defense ripped into one top NFC offense at home, and now we'll try to do the same to another on a short week. Washington's offensive line, however, is trending up, and unlike Detroit, they have a mobile quarterback who makes big plays with his feet as well as with his big arm. Jayden Daniels will be up for the duel with Jordan Love, using his legs well to slow down the Green Bay pass rush. But I believe the difference will be the Packers being more effective in the running game with Josh Jacobs. And also throw in the fact that it's in Green Bay. I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game. I'm going to go 27-24. Green Bay defeats Washington in what should be a great first game for the Thursday Night Football crew on Amazon Prime Video. So 27-24, give me Green Bay to win. Nothing else left to say except MF, take it home, and Washington and Green Bay, it's up for cross-flex if you want it, just saying.
Yeah, it is definitely. We'll talk about it later on. This is gonna be an interesting matchup, definitely. Washington, they struggled a little early, but they did get their win over the Giants. It wasn't the most dominating performance, but they did win nonetheless. But I will say this: Green Bay, wow, what a performance they did against Detroit. I mean, that got a lot of people talking about maybe Green Bay, possibly a Super Bowl contender after what they saw. So I think Green Bay is definitely red hot right now. You go with the hot hand on this one. Green Bay wins it. Anthony, let's call it a night.
All right, and that will put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again on Thursday night, right back here on the Tone 25. I believe at 10:30 for another edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, Week 3 edition. As we will get into all the games on that one for Week 3, headlined by Georgia versus Tennessee and Texas A&M versus Notre Dame, and a very interesting sleeper matchup with South Florida against Miami. And we're going to get into all of that and all the other games on Thursday night. And then Friday night, again here on the Tone 25, 10:30, the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We'll recap the Commander-Packer game, and then we'll get into the remaining games of Week number 2. Headlined, of course, by the rematch of Super Bowl 59 between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. America's Game of the Week on Fox at Arrowhead. That is going to be something. And then Saturday night, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95. We got TNA Impact. We got Friday Night SmackDown. And MF will also have the results of the Worlds Collide. So he'll have that for us as well. And then 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again with another edition of Ridiculously Raw, which will also include, by the way, a preview not only of next Thursday night's football game, but also, which, oh, by the way, it's the Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills, Buddy Bowl, yeah. And on top of that, we're also going to have a preview of WWE WrestlePalooza. Loaded show next week. So that's it. So until Thursday night for the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and always and forever our First Lady, the one and only Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Thursday night, for College Football Thursday, you have been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.